It's BR Boxing. We are back. We are here doing a final prediction show for the heavyweight fight that's taking place tomorrow in Poland between Oleksandr Usyk and Daniel Dubois. We need really both fighters need no introduction, but we've had the weigh in, so we are here essentially for final predictions. But we're going to tease a few of those themes out first. If you guys obviously want to check out our weigh in reaction, jump on the channel for that as well. Obviously, we've got that with Paul and Stotty taking you through that. Niall, Greg, as mentioned, we've seen that Usyk's weighed in for this fight 220 around there, so obviously like similar sort of weight than what he's had up against AJ before. Dubois actually come in lighter though, lighter than he's been I think since 2017. They were saying only about 12 pounds in it, so 230ish, early 230s. Well, we're going to focus on that initially in our first questioning here, where I say to you, he's coming lighter, and the question really I want to ask is, can you get a sense of how he's going to approach the fight tactically, given the sort of physique and the the weight that he's coming at? And I'm going to come to you, Gregory, first for that question.
Yeah, thanks very much, Elliot. What I read into that is Daniel Dubois, if he is to get out of the way of Usyk's shots, he feels he has to be lighter. I think that's quite smart because he's a big guy anyway. He's going to be much bigger than Usyk, even if he is a good bit lighter. He's still going to be a big guy compared to Usyk, let's be honest. So I think it's a good move. I watched the weigh-in. I don't think he looks as though he's lost too much. He's quite muscular, with a bit of a ripped physique, but he's still got, I wouldn't say fat, but he's still got bits of comfortable weight there that you can see. So I don't think he's drained himself down to the wire. So good move from me, Elliot.
Thank you very much. Niall, I'm going to come to you and ask you the same thing as well. Do you think so? Yeah, the weight's obviously, as we've mentioned, 220 versus 223.2. Do you think that the bar will come into this differently than he's come into previous fights? Do you reckon that'll affect him tactically? And also, do you think do you agree with Greg that it's a good move, or do you see something different?
Yeah, I agree in terms of the fact that he has to be he has to be quicker in terms of getting out of the way of the shots and also closing Usyk down. But I think coming into it tactically, he has to be lighter because I think he knows himself that this can't go 12 rounds if he wants to have a chance of winning this fight. It can't go 12. He has to get on him, put the pressure on him early, and stop him, and probably stop him early as well. So that probably lends itself to why he came in lighter. Yeah, he has to start fast in this, and I can imagine that's why he's kind of trimmed down here, to start kind of explosive and fast and not have so much weight to carry around for 12 rounds.
Greg, let me just pick up something Niall said there with you. Obviously, Daniel Dubois is a fighter that's not been 12 rounds before. Do you, without giving a prediction either way, so you think he's going to win, do you think this fight will go 12 rounds? Do you think he's got it in to go 12 rounds here?
It's difficult because Usyk hasn't legitimately stopped anyone since Tony Bellew, I believe, in 2017 or 18. Yeah, he got Chaz Witherspoon out, but that was a retirement. I don't think it will go 12 rounds to answer. I was going to go on there forever, Ellie, but you asked me a question, I'll give you a straight answer. I don't think it goes 12 rounds.
And let me follow up there. I mean, Niall, just jumped the gun a bit on one of the questions there, Niall, but no criticism to you there. I'm going to come to Gregory here and say, obviously, Niall suggested how he thinks Dubois should approach it, and how he thinks, the keys to victory really tactically. Do you agree with him? Essentially, he's kind of got to just jump on Usyk and kind of just like get into him, getting close and start just bombing in early, or do you see something different?
I can completely understand why Niall feels that way, and I think that if it's not going to go the distance, Dubois does need to go in and hurt him. But one thing that I did notice watching Dubois, he's got quite good hand speed and he's got a good jab. If he knows how to control the distance and use that jab, that could cause Usyk problems. And I think that's maybe why he's came in later, to try and keep himself at arm's length. But if he's going to get Usyk out there, he's got to hurt him. So I agree with Niall on that way, yeah.
Obviously, this is Usyk's obviously southpaw. We saw Bowen with another southpaw, Kevin Arena, recently, where he was obviously down and in big trouble in the first round. No, I'll come to you first with this question. Just say, do you think that was a case of heavyweight division getting caught and kind of being a bit unfortunate? Anything can happen up in that division, or do you see a genuine weakness that could be exploited, and the fact that Dubois may be sort of outclassed essentially by another southpaw for getting here?
Yeah, it was just a bizarre result. That it was a bizarre outcome to what happened early in that fight. Take nothing away from Kevin Lorena, he's a good fighter, but I think to spin it as kind of a positive for Dubois, I think he kind of answered a few questions that night too, in terms of doubts that were there from the Joyce fight. People saying he packed it in. I know it was a bad injury. That he might have kind of quit in that one, but he could have easily crumbled there too after getting hurt early in that one. So I think he answered a lot of questions about his heart and that. So I will give him credit for that. But yeah, Loren, he did get it done, and Loren is a good fighter, but it'll be a totally different proposition against Usyk this weekend. Yeah, totally different.
Greg, you're a man, obviously, you've boxed yourself, you boxed against Orthodox and Southpaw fighters. Do you sense a vulnerability in Dubois against a Southpaw fighter, or do you think it was just maybe a touch unlucky and he got caught a touch cold in the last fight against Lorena?
It's a really good question, Elliot, and I do sense a vulnerability because when I watched it, I'm going to give some credit to Kevin Lorena here. See the first knockdown? That was a tremendous counter shot that he caught Dubois with. He let Dubois throw, held everything tight, and he threw a burst himself. And the shot actually catches Dubois in the top of the head. The other two knockdowns, I don't understand them. He went down once himself, and the other one, he just looked uncomfortable. He didn't look terribly hurt. But yeah, I do sense a little bit of a vulnerability with Southpaws. He's not familiar with fighting with Southpaws. The thing that scares me about this fight is Oleksandr Usyk is a Kevin Lorena times 10. He does everything that Kevin Lorena does except massively better. So yeah, I think there's a vulnerability there, Elliot. That's what I picked up from that fight anyway.
Talking of vulnerabilities, let's just focus on Usyk here for a minute as well, because obviously there's a lot of pressure on this fight in some ways. It's in Poland, a lot of Ukrainian, fans obviously going to be there, ex-servicemen, etc., possible big political dignitaries. A lot has been made out of this fight. Do you think there's any chance, Greg, that he may potentially underestimate or take his eye off Daniel Dubois here, or do you think that obviously he's gone away before the amount of champions he's beaten, he will be able to slip back into that conditioning mentally and cope with it, or do you think there's a vulnerability potentially?
I think what you'll find with a lot of Eastern European guys, Elliot, is they're very, very focused. It doesn't matter who they fight. They've got a professionalism that a lot of the rest of the world don't have. But one thing I have picked up from Usyk, and this is going to sound ridiculous, and I totally get this, guys, but I'm hoping you know where I'm coming from. He doesn't like getting hit. You can see in Usyk he doesn't like getting hit. You've seen the state of his face the first time he fought Joshua. Joshua followed up and kept throwing more shots and backing him up. I think there's times that Usyk looked uncomfortable, and I think Daniel Dubois needs to take belief from that. So yes, I think he'll be professional. I don't think he'll underestimate Daniel Dubois, but the vulnerability I think with Usyk is these big guys hitting him. When you're 6'3", you can't take too many of them.
No, would you agree with Greg there? Do you think fundamentally that that he will obviously have the sort of resilience, but equally there's a possibility if he does get hit by Dubois, it could finish early?
Yeah, it could. Dubois has the power, and I know we're going to get on to predictions now, so I'll probably just save it for that portion. But I can see where Gregory's coming from, but I don't think Dubois has the means and the ability to kind of set those shots up and hit him with anything that's going to really get his respect to that degree. To be honest,
you are exactly correct here, Niall, in saying that this is a prediction show, and we would not be the men we are unless we did offer some predictions here. Now I'm going to give you each, including myself, 30 seconds roughly or less if you're happy to do with that. Your prediction and sort of method of victory, how you reckon the fight's going to roughly play out. KO, stoppage, who's going to win. Niall, I'm coming to you first. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so basically, I'm going to be honest here. I don't see there's any way that Daniel Dubois wins this fight. I think it'll be so rare, barring a freak injury to Usyk. He hits hard, but I don't think he's fast enough. I don't think he's clever enough to set those shots up and get Usyk's respect with it. He's still very raw around the edges. Like I like Daniel Dubois. I think he's exciting to watch, but there's levels to this, and he's gonna prove Usyk's gonna prove it, and I don't think he'll drop around really to Dubois, and I think Usyk gets him out of there late, 9-12 for me. There's no shame in that for Dubois, but yeah, it's just he's on a completely different planet to him. Usyk is. That's my opinion on it.
Greg, do you agree? Usyk KO 9-12, or are you going early, you going late, or are you going Dubois?
Prediction wise, Elliot, I'm going Usyk 7-12 because it's not that I think that's not a discredit to Daniel Dubois. I think Daniel Dubois can hurt him, and I think he can knock him out. I think any big guy the size of Daniel Dubois, if you get caught in your whiskers, I don't care if you're Oleksandr Usyk or Bionic Man, you're going to sleep. That's just it. So Yeah, I give Daniel Dubois a chance in the fight. I think if he's got relatively fast hands. I watched again against Lorena there, and I thought, you're quite quick at times, but I think it's his experience that will let him down. I think this could go similar to Tony Bellew and Usyk. I think the second half of the fight, I think Usyk will start changing up angles, going around the side of Daniel Dubois, and he'll be exhausted and get stopped. That's my prediction. Usyk 7-12.
Yeah, no, guys, I'm gonna agree with you, Greg. Actually, I'm gonna go probably early. I'm gonna go somewhere around that sort of 7-8, 7-9 range. I totally agree with you as well. I think it'd be interesting to see how Dubois approaches it. A lot of people said he should just jump on him early. In a way, I can kind of see sense in that, but I just don't think he'll do it. I think when it actually happens, he'll just kind of stay off him a bit and try and see what happens, and then eventually just get kind of picked off and fatigued and stopped. But I think my main thing is I just hope he can come again. Essentially, I don't think there's any sense in him getting battered by Usyk here, and then having his confidence, having to do another rebuild. Like, yeah, I'd just like to see him. So, if anything, I wouldn't be adverse to him just going hell for leather for like 6 rounds and throwing the towel in. I wouldn't actually be against that, but I don't think that'll happen. I think we'll get slowly picked off and stopped sort of 7, 8, 9, somewhere around there as well. Guys, thanks for joining us. All we've got time for, short and sweet. Check out the rest of the channel, obviously, for the weigh-in reaction, for the reviews, obviously, of the fight itself. Obviously, with other deep fight breakdowns of this thing. We've got written and digital and video content on the channel. Check those out. Niall, Greg, thank you very much for joining me. And again, thank you very much, guys, for watching.
Thanks, Elliot.
Thank you, Elliot. Thanks.